The first tattoo I ever did was the Hanya mask, like with a professional machine, you know, a Hanya mask on my buddy's thigh.
Yeah. Like a big one?
Yep, it was huge.
And that was the first one?
Yep.
How'd it look?
Horrible.
We're going to have to go back. You're going to have to think way back. And can you tell us about the first tattoo you ever did?
Okay, first tattoo I ever did, I was at a house party on mushrooms.
The first tattoo I ever did was on my roommate.
It was on my cousin.
It was this large woman. Let's put it that way.
Essentially, people would I'd just go into people's apartments and it'd be like a friend of a friend type thing, you know, and then.
I was 18. I wasn't supposed to be tattooing.
I think I was 15.
I actually did it in not a shop.
It was in my bedroom when I was 17.
It was in a dorm room, the MFA dorm room of Montclair State University.
My brother was begging to get a tattoo from me, so we set up my couch.
And I did it on my living room table.
Should I be saying this information?
It was in the middle of a dust bowl. We were outside, as a matter of fact.
I had just ordered a tattoo machine off of Amazon. It was like definitely the cheapest thing I could find.
I am guilty of being gifted a tattoo machine before I became a tattooer professionally.
I'd been hanging out with some tattoo artists and had the equipment at my house. I had an uncle that was really good at tattooing, so.
I was a permanent makeup artist at the time.
I had like an apprenticeship for maybe 2 months, but the guy wasn't even an artist.
People ask, oh, what do you do? And then they find out that you can draw, and then they're like, well, I have some sewing needles and a ballpoint pen that we could break open, and let's get this thing going. Like, I want you to tattoo me.
I didn't have any tattoos at the point, so I didn't know how it was set up or anything, but whatever.
I was sweating bullets. There were bikers all around.
There was blood everywhere.
And I was using permanent makeup ink, which is a big mistake. You should not do that.
It was an outline of the state of New Jersey.
It was a quote, and we misspelled the quote.
It was a skull on my leg.
It was like a little worm with a hat with some little arms holding a beer.
I did a butterfly on like this girl that I used to be friends with. I did like a little trail of butterflies up kind of like on her thigh area close to the coochie.
It took pretty much all day.
It took me all night for no reason, and it came out terrible.
No one got infected, nobody died, and I was very good after that and didn't do any more tattoos until someone was supervising me and I kind of knew what I was doing.
Okay, yeah, so in 22 years of tattooing, the first tattoo I ever did was on myself.
The first tattoo I ever did was on myself.
The first tattoo I ever did was on myself.
Well, it was on myself.
On myself. On myself, on my own leg.
So the first tattoo I ever did was on my leg.
It's on my leg. Do you want to see it?
I was on the edge of my bed. I'd got all the stuff together and just tried it out.
And it was with a sewing needle and like some thread wrapped around the tip of it, and I did it with like calligraphy ink.
I was 18, I tried to get an apprenticeship and I failed. And so I bought the kit online and I tried to do it myself.
I was on the edge of my bed. I'd got all the stuff together and just tried it out.
I had just gotten my machine and I was like, let me just pick something really simple, line, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm a huge Star Trek fan, so I like just did a little insignia.
It took me like 5 hours or something. I'd probably knock it out in like an hour now, but.
It took like 6 hours, I think. And it would take maybe half an hour today.
And I like used my own spit to like clean it because I was scared of like going out and my parents seeing what I was doing.
And this is the result of that endeavor.
And that was the first time I learned not to put the stencil on while you're sitting down.
And what I did wrong was I put the stencil on, I made a little stencil and I put it on with my leg bent because I didn't really know about this stuff yet. And I did the tattoo, and then when I stood up, it shrank a little bit.
Because when I stood up, it went. So it's a little funny looking, but.
So my first tattoo was a good learning tattoo.
I was hoping that the tattoo would bring me luck, but ultimately I think that it was more finding an apprenticeship that got me to where I am.
Tell us about the first tattoo you ever did.
Oh my God, it was actually a face tattoo. Yeah, like
He came in and I told him, I was like, I only do stick and poke right now. I was like, I've never done a face before. And he was like, I just want a really big flower on my face. And I was like, I'm not gonna charge you because I've never done this before. And I'm just kind of interested in doing this. And he was like, I just want you to do it. I love your art. I trust you. And I just do not care. And I was like, okay, bet. And yeah, so we did it. And I mean, he did like it. He hit me up like 2 years later and was like, can we do a touch up? And it actually healed pretty well. So I was like, that's kind of sick. Very lucky, but would never do that again. The flower started like right here on the side of his ear. It stopped about like right here, and the petals like went all the way up, like the side of his head.
Have you tattooed a lot of faces since?
I have tattooed maybe like 3 other faces, but fairly small. I felt like I was just kind of young and excited, and I thought it was chaotic, and I was like, let's go for it.
I actually worked in a real gatekeepery, like metal, like Halloween all the time shop that looked like the inside of a Halloween store, and the mentor that I had didn't trust me to draw my tattoo because men, and he had me do this goat with 666 because he was a real edgelord. So he had me do that, and he actually couldn't sit there, so I don't know why he even had me do it. So he was like, I'm getting up, I don't have time for this. It didn't even take me that long.
And he just quit.
Yeah.
Did you finish it?
Yeah. Yeah. It really did look like a Halloween store in there. There was like zombie babies and stuff.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't remember who like the actual first person I tattooed was, but the first client I took on ever was super interesting. Like it was this person's first or not their first, but it was their biggest tattoo. And it was the biggest one I had obviously ever done too. So I had just also printed out that bigger size, just kind of like, just to have as a reference, you know? And I was like, we obviously don't have to do this. Like, this is just kind of for me to look at, just so you know. And then they wound up really liking that one. So I was like, okay, like, yeah, first client, like, biggest tattoo I've ever done, biggest tattoo you have, very visible on your arm, no problem, like, we're gonna do it. So, and it came out really nice. Even to this day, it's healed, like, very well. There's, like, a couple lines that I want to touch up when I go back to LA, but, yeah, that was definitely a nerve-wracking, but also extremely pleasant experience.
I tattooed myself almost every day for like 12 days straight when I first started tattooing. Like 12 small black work things all on my legs. It wasn't my idea, it was my mentor's.
How do you think you improved as the days went on, or did you improve?
Quickly, yeah, because my mentor's just sitting there next to me, just watching, you know, everything I did. It's like, that was wrong, that was good, more like that, less like that. I think it's a good way to learn, but definitely stressful.
What were some of like the little things that you tattooed on yourself?
It was like, we were picking it like by the day. We'd say, you gotta practice straight lines. Pick something with straight lines. Numbers, you know, script, whatever it was. So it's kind of a random assortment, but that was a rough week.
So it's my friend, her name is Tiana, and one thing about my friends is all of them are ride or die, because like, I guess they've known since I've been an artist my entire life, and I didn't become a tattoo artist till I was in my 30s. So like, all of them knew my prior painting and all that stuff that I did before, so she was like super okay with me doing a tattoo on her. So she had a little tiny heart on her, and she's like, can you just clean it up and make it look nice and then do like a little heart around it? So I was like, okay. And she's like, actually, Prentice at the shop did their first tattoo, and it was that tattoo. So I was like, okay, let me make it better. Y'all, it did not get better. It did not get better. So I got the first one done, and I was like, okay, I got overconfident. And then the next one, I went to go do the second line around it. I was like, oh, like I got so nervous thinking about doing another one, like making sure that the lines is the same all the way around and everything. I got so nervous. The whole outside is just like a whole shaky ass line, and I told her it was an earthquake heart.
Oh.
So I gave it a new name. But then 2 years later, I covered it up with a portrait of her mom.
But you know what? I think my first tattoo was better than like my next 20, because I started, it was just for fun. Like I didn't want to be a tattoo artist. I was just like, yeah, I'll try it. And so I had no pressure. And it wasn't that bad. But the next 20 were probably horrendous.
They were on me.
I let this girl do permanent makeup eyebrows on me a few years ago. It was like
It wasn't her first tattoo, right?
It was one of her first times doing it. They looked terrible.
Let me see them. Is that why you have bangs?
No. They all fell out.
Okay,
They
that's
all fell out
good.
almost immediately, but they looked
crazy. I'll show you a picture.
Oh my God, yeah, that's terrifying.
Awful. She's like, I'm trying to do something different here. And I was like,
You're like, please don't.